Woo woo!
Get pumped. Get pumped.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do. We get pumped.
That's what we do on a Thursday, an early recording for us. Actually,
Yeah.
Usually it's the dead of night.
Usually, like going into the next day.
The sun is still out, which is crazy. And you're listening to this crazy talk on Deadzone the Podcast with Bryan
and Scott.
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
And so, obviously, this episode is going to be coming out to you when everyone's hip deep in Adepticon news and previews and announcements and tournaments and all sorts of games going on. We sadly, if you hadn't listened to previous episodes, unfortunately couldn't make it this year, and which is certainly a sad point. But ultimately, we are excited for the event. It's a huge one. It's in the new venue now in Milwaukee. So if you are catching this episode at the event, hey guys, hope you're having fun. I hope the new venue is pretty cool. And but what we would like to do is actually we wanted to make sure we captured our regular episode and got it out at our regular time, which is on the 28th of every month. Like I said, it just so happens to land smack dab in the middle of Adepticon. And normally I try to record early in advance, but the month kind of got away from me. And so here we are.
Life happens.
Yeah. And so what we wanted to do is we're going to try and set up a kind of second half episode after Adepticon has wrapped up. I'm going to try to connect with a few of the folks that went to the event to get the scuttlebutt directly from the source. And with any luck, that episode will drop shortly after this one comes out, but probably into next month. So didn't want to miss our regular release schedule, but at the same time, we didn't want to wait a whole month before we could talk about what happened at Adepticon. So what we're going to do in this episode, however, is wildly speculate on how things are going at Adepticon. And then we'll catch it in the next episode to see how accurate we were.
I like this.
So like as of this recording, which is actually the 27th, the events for Mantic are just kicking off. And so, but one of the ones that's already underway, and I haven't seen any posts about yet, is actually Firefight is underway. The Firefight tournament. Right now.
Okay.
As of this, well, actually, depending on timing, okay, it goes to 7:30 Central Time, but it started at 9. So it's still going. It's probably in the last 2 rounds.
They're probably only 2 games in.
But yeah, so wanted to talk a little bit about that. We'll be doing our hobby table discussion like we usually do. And then we also got our little game to report on. So let's start with our wild speculation, though. Adepticon is underway. Mantic has a huge presence there. It's always a great show for them. And so they always build to big releases around this time. Now, we did find out last month that Epic Warpath wasn't going to quite make the deadline to launch at Adepticon. It looks like it's going to be coming a little bit later. But there's obviously cool and exciting things that are happening at the event right now. So I'm going to throw over to you, Scott. Like, what would be one thing that you foresee or speculate that Mantic is going to be doing at Adepticon?
One thing that Mantic will be doing at Adepticon. Well, my
like,
thing
what kind
is
of announcements are you?
I don't know. I mean, I know what that Champions though already getting announced. I feel like they might showcase it a little more, but I guess I don't know. I feel like I've already been getting a lot of news in like online with them, like last like 3 days. I feel like.
Yeah, they have been ramping up their social campaign and to hype up the announcements going on. We do have one that we can report on. Probably is that the Brutes are going to be coming to Halo Flashpoint.
They look legit,
which is an exciting announcement. They've got a release of it looks like another starter set with the Brutes and I think some elites.
So is it a starter or is it like an expansion? I thought it was like an expansion based on the ads, or is it like 2 new teams that teach you how to play?
I think it could be a combo here,
a little bit of both.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. It's the Rise of the Banished release, and so it looks like there's going to be a 2-player. It's another starter set with the Banished Brutes, as well as a bunch of elite mercenaries. And it's going to be on more of a spaceship themed map, and have more of that kind of terrain. So that's pretty exciting. Obviously Halo is getting the big thrust of the announcements. I think at Adepticon here, they put out a Halo Flashpoint Ultimate Starter Bundle release, which includes a heck of a lot of stuff. I don't think this is necessarily available at Adepticon, but this is one of the announcements that they've had. And it includes like the Spartan Edition, the new Banished box set, Master Chief in his own release. They made new trays, like unit card trays for
that's
the
nice.
Character cards, which some people have been 3D printing or have designed some online, but now we've got like official hard plastic ones, which will be very nice and sturdy. There's a whole bunch of new styled command dice as well. So there's all sorts of new cool goodies coming out.
So is that all one bundle, Brian?
So there's this Ultimate Starter Bundle seems to have the Spartan Edition 2-player set, Rise of the Banished faction box, limited edition Etriox figure, Master Chief, and the Force Organizer set. So that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a ton.
It's also like 200 pounds.
Yeah, but that's not too bad. Just in there.
In monies, not
in monies.
So it's about $250 US.
It weighs 200 pounds. It's like there's so many minis.
It's super heavy. Yeah. Those Brutes, man, they're big.
Yeah.
And the first like screenshots of the Brutes like stood up next to Spartans. They are some beastly minis.
Yeah, they're like just big boys.
Mm-hmm,
but we knew that the Brutes were coming now, but it's cool seeing how quickly Mantic was able to actually make it happen.
Yeah, and man, the minis themselves look fantastic.
Yeah, I would say it's some of their best work, actually, in my opinion.
Absolutely, man. The paint jobs on them too for the sample models.
They're sweet.
So good. So that's obviously the biggest splash in the news is all the stuff going down for Halo Flashpoint. New poses for a lot of the other fire teams. There's the Fire Team Phoenix, I think, is another one that's been showcased now, in addition to like Fire Team Hydra and I think Cerberus was the other one. So
something like that.
really, really cool stuff. So that obviously was less of us speculating and more of us reporting the news.
Yeah. But I feel like the speculation would be around like something like that, but then they just told us already. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Considering that that was announced before the day of, so big announcements there. And
so can I actually
now
put a real speculation out? I know I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry, but okay. You know what I'm thinking is I feel like with Halo's success and what they're pushing with Halo, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that they're just doing more with it. Like, here is a bigger version of the game, or like here's a more like a hardcover copy of a new like line of products that they're doing with the Halo franchise. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did something along those lines.
That would be pretty cool. We know that they have like their little like it's not a wargaming book, but it's the force list builder that you can get to let you really build your own fire teams rather than use the preset ones. And so that's a great evolution of the game. I know that was something they've announced before. So excited to see that. So as far as speculating on like where the future of Flashpoint goes and whether or not they're going to announce it, man, it'd be so cool to have them launch something that kind of takes it to that next level of vehicular-based combat of some kind.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying. That's what everyone I know that bought it is like, I need a Warthog.
Yeah, you got to have a Warthog. Like, and what's neat about it, like, obviously, like taking it into like a firefight realm could be really cool. But even if you just did it as like a quad board, like you just up the board size so that it's so you keep the rules for Halo Flashpoint intact, but you add vehicles that just have movement and everything like that. I think that would be a really cool way to escalate, bring some of that vehicular action from the Halo experience into the game.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to wildly speculate that they're announcing the Warthog, and it comes with like Smash 4 when you run into somebody from the front, and
you
it
can
has
have the Ghost 2 that has like a boost or something,
Yeah, exactly. That has like a range 4 twin plasma blast with so it's got weight of fire on it. Like real simple, just add one vehicle per side and we're off to the races. I mean, Deadzone itself is not without vehicles at that
it has jet
scale.
bikes. It's the same thing.
And maybe that's the first start. Maybe the Warthog's a little too ambitious. Maybe we get Mongoose.
Yeah, there we go.
The little
two-man thing.
Yeah. The little ATV, and you got somebody on the back with a rocket launcher, because that's the only way you roll with that.
Different. Deadzone compared to Halo, there's one thing that's different that I think would be a design challenge that I do think Mantic could pull off. And I don't know how you would do it in terms of like sculpting, but in terms of rules. Deadzone, they're already in the vehicle. Your characters are in the vehicle at the beginning of the game, but when you're playing Halo, the vehicles are out on the board, and then you got to go get them and then start riding around. So it would be neat to see how they do that,
So,
if that's what they do.
I've seen some people like do this for D&D minis, is that they have a round disc spot that sits on top of the vehicle, so you can stand the guy on top of it.
Yeah, that would actually work, to be honest.
That would work.
Or you could just say like there's like an occupied, something to signify occupied, and then you could just put your guy to the side. If you didn't want to stack your guys up or something, Yeah.
So Mantic, that's what we speculate that you did. You announced at this event is that vehicles are coming to Halo Flashpoint. They're going to be little standees inside of that you can set your minis on top of.
And the royalty checks can be mailed directly to us if that's in the future.
Yeah. So I think that's a great Halo Flashpoint speculation. And so kind of with that, we obviously have still kind of on the Halo Flashpoint topic, we obviously have tournaments going on right now, and so one of those things is, what do you think the loadout is for the winning team of Halo Flashpoint, because obviously they can build their own lists for
they
the
did
event.
do it, or they did not.
They did, or
Okay,
at least
okay.
I hope they did.
Yeah,
They had the
yeah.
option. I think they could only have 2 of each type, but what would you speculate was the winning combo?
Man, the winning combo for that. Okay, so that's out of the base set. Out of those 4 guys, you could choose what you want.
Out of the 4 guys, and I think it included the Spartan Edition ones as well.
Okay, so you could have. So you could have a
you
little
could
more
have
than that.
the ones with the alternate weapons. It's the same models, but they do have alternate weapons.
Well, I don't remember off the top of my head the names of each of the guys, but I can at least describe to you what they do. And so
Yeah.
I played Flashpoint kind of extensively with my brother, big Microsoft Halo fan. That's just his jam, which got into this. I like the shotgun guy. I don't remember what he's called, but that shotgun is awesome. It's short range,
Brawler,
but I feel like
yeah.
it's around easy, and I would run 2 of those if I could. So I'm going to predict the guy who has the most shotguns is the winner.
The guy with the most shotguns is the winner.
Yeah.
So someone that ran 2 brawlers and
Brawler.
yeah. And any combination of the other 2?
Well, I guess
got
any of them are kind of good. I mean, I didn't really run the sniper too much when I played, or he's not really a sniper. It's the DMR guy. I didn't really use that.
Yeah.
I did like. I don't know. I guess anything that you would want to do would work.
All right.
Yeah, like
so
depending on what your style is.
Yeah. So I would suspect, I think, double brawlers is probably a really strong combo. But I would wonder if a double Mark 7, so the one that's the pointy guy, because he gets you a tactician bonus.
There we go. Yeah, that's true.
And I think someone running 2 of them with a Deadeye and a brawler, I bet that's who won.
Well,
whoever was playing that.
DMR, is that the DMR guy or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deadeye is the DMR guy.
Okay, so you're saying the DMR, you think the combo is legit?
Yeah. I think the DMR is really strong.
It is
good. And it's got a lot of things working well for it. So I think the doubled up combo is that the Mark 7, the pointy guy, and the tactician bonus that he grants is probably going to be a big factor. So I think that's the combo for me. That's who won.
Okay. I guess what I have to do,
I have find out later.
Yeah, I'll have to play more Halo. I guess it's been a minute since I remember what everything does, but yeah, I can definitely see how tactician would be an instant benefit. But I think anything that you could do to get through armor is just going to be an immediate win, considering everybody's got it.
Yeah, any kind of AP you can bring to into Halo Flashpoint, the better. All right, so with that, let's move on to Firefight, and wildly speculate about any kind of announcements with Firefight. So I will say, like, I do think the kind of in part, like the new mats that they're rolling out is something I'm kind of bundling in with this. They're giving a lot of love to terrain and board mats right now. So that's a big way to really accent and bring some life to your Firefight tabletop. I'm really curious, and I'm going to wildly speculate that they are going to announce and lock in these lists that have been in beta for just about a year, a little under a year now.
I think it's been over a year, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they were, a lot of them came up like in the summer of last year. Like so much stuff always seemed to drop around the Michigan GT, actually. And so we're coming around on a full year of having these lists in beta for Firefight, really trying out the teams. And so I'm speculating that they're going to lock them in officially as no longer beta. I'm hoping that we get some kind of supplemental release that
That'd be nice.
that like as a paper thing or something that we can add into our force list books or in addition to, because we now have the command protocols book, but we've since like added a whole bunch of a new faction, and or I'm trying to remember if Maison Labs is in the command protocols book.
I think it is.
I think it is. Yeah, because they were in beta for the first release of Firefight, and then
I think Maison Labs and Rebs, right? They were added to command protocol. Or no,
Rebs
were they not?
weren't. Yeah, not yet. The Maison was though. I think they were the first.
Are Rebs still not even in the companion?
Yeah, Rebs aren't in Firefight yet. Yes.
Really? Wow. Okay, yeah. I guess I'm out of the loop, man.
This is Scott's wild speculation, is that the Rebs are going to show up in
well,
Firefight.
I keep hearing that they're making all these Rebs stuff. I figure they added it already, you know.
Yeah, that's what we hear on the on the showroom floor. You heard it from us that the Rebs, they're everywhere.
Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah, so my wild speculation is that they are announcing the next step for Firefight, which is really just to codify and lock in the stuff that's been in beta for a while. No big rules changes that I foresee. I think it's just kind of that formalized release, and maybe a new narrative campaign mission or two. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Do you have any Firefight news speculation?
Well, I agree with you with the beta stuff. Yeah, besides the Rebs. Well, I don't know why they wouldn't add Rebs, so that would be my speculation for sure that they're going to add it. I mean, if they're already doing that campaign for hard plastics, then I definitely think they've gauged the audience for that kind of thing. The only thing I could think of with Firefight that they would want to add is, I don't know, if they're already doing Epic Warpath, I don't know what they wouldn't do to incorporate them all into something. Like whether it's like what you said, narrative campaigns, or like a beta prototype campaign thing for Firefight. Because I mean, Deadzone has a baked-in campaign thing. I don't know why Firefight wouldn't either.
Yeah, I think a Firefight campaign would definitely be something we'd love to see, and a great addition to the game, and hopefully not too big a lift to bundle that in with some of the new announced units and stuff. So because we've got the Matsudan now, we've got the the Night Stalkers, and so like and I think there was even some more. I think there was some beta units for Marauders.
If they added Nameless to Firefight, that would be cool too.
Nameless would also be pretty cool in Firefight.
Yeah, I think they should be in the game.
They're an Epic. So, all right. So on Firefight, then, we obviously have mentioned that the tournament is happening as we speak. I have not seen any news about it and have not looked into it at all. There might be some posts about it. But who do you speculate is going to be the top table? Like, what are the two factions that you see we're going to be fighting head-to-head for spots 1 and 2?
The top factions, I think, will be Marauders and maybe Night Stalkers. Are they allowed?
They were allowed, yeah.
I feel like those two might be toe to toe for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Night Stalkers are just good.
Night Stalkers are pretty good. I'm gonna wildly speculate that the Rebs won. No, I think
they're in the game now.
It's going to be Asterians. Always had a really strong showing, so I'm thinking it's going to be Asterians and Enforcers. I think that's a really strong top table there.
Well, Enforcers are definitely legit, so I don't know why they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. But but the thing is that's what we just did.
We did just do that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so that's what I think is top table, and I think the Asterians come out on top.
Really? Well, I mean, as an Asterians player, I can tell you they are quite useful and they're very utilitarian, where each one of those units is going to give a specific need, so you can just rinse and repeat. And plus, I feel like Ciphers can handle any problem too, on top of that. So I can see that being a pretty... We should put bets, man. We should place bets on that. What happens.
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple hours, and I'll just be able to edit the episode real quick.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, look at that.
And that's right. Bryan bet on Beerman.
Yeah, just like that. Now, to my point, the only reason why I say Marauders, didn't Marauders win the Michigan GT?
I think they did. I think they had a really strong show.
I feel like Marauders have the best output of fire. Is like from my understanding. Marauders, at least the times really I played against Marauders, they just throw everything at you.
All the factions are just very strong right now, and like it is that thing where there are some that require a little bit more finesse to really capitalize on, but you know it's kind of hard to go wrong with a firefight faction.
It's all about the player.
A good chunk of it comes down to the player. And really making the best use of your list. So that's our wild speculation for how the firefight team went. Congratulations to the winners, and everyone else. We'll see you next year.
Yep. Yeah. We will try to be there. That's for sure.
So next up, we got Deadzone. So let's wildly speculate on Deadzone news right now. I think we're mostly going to see a similar kind of thing, right? Where Deadzone now has had a couple of new factions added to the list that are still in kind of a beta state, with the Matsudan and the Night Stalkers. I think there'll be some cleanup of those two factions as they kind of settle in on their kind of official list state. But what I'd like to see is really kind of the embracing of those 3D printed sets that came out with all the themed lists. And I want them to release those as box starter sets that you can get. It's like, here's your nuts and bolts Marauders faction.
Good idea.
Here's your I'm trying to remember the Hand of the Seven set for your enforcers. I think the Rebs one is the Arius Contract Mercenaries. So awesome. Like there's a Reb starter set, and you know, they'll be nice and expensive because they're all resin printed at that point.
Not so bad, yeah. But I think Deadzone really would be good with like a pick up and play kind of model to it. I think that would be awesome, actually. Yeah, you're just like, hey, this is what we're doing. We don't got to think about balance. We just play.
Yeah. I'm really curious. I don't think it's going to happen at Adepticon, but I'm really curious if we are going to see some bleed through or trickle down, or however you want to call it, of the Halo Flashpoint mechanics. It's like some of the new ones that were brought in for Halo Flashpoint. If we see them take shape in Deadzone in some fashion, really kind of looking at some simple things like the crouch mechanic, where you get extra survive dice or shoot dice, like real basic things that don't skew the rules too much, but things like I know, like the optics rule, where the exploding 8s become 7s as well. Like some of that stuff trickling over, I think could be kind of interesting. But that might make a few things a little bit too deadly, because I think Deadzone strikes a really good balance where, you know, you do want to be very tactful with you have a limited supply of people, which Halo Flashpoint doesn't have as a constraint, right? Characters respawn in that game, so they're constantly coming back. It's always a meat grinder and a churn. So like having really high damage output stuff makes sense in that environment. I think we don't want it to become too explosive in the dead zone space, because then things really get out of hand when you're trying to like have to be careful and cautious, because your team could get obliterated real quick.
Yeah,
But
like
I think some things will trickle over.
If we added stuff like optics, which I do actually think fit into Dead Zone, I think it does, and especially the crouching. I don't know why the crouching is not in Dead Zone. Is actually the way when I first saw that mechanic, I thought it was perfect. But you would have to retool some of the numbers if you added something like optics. So maybe it's like a one-time upgrade or something. You know what I mean? Like it's a type of ammo or whatever. Like you can add those things in other ways.
Yeah. I think that could be a fun way to do it too. Yeah, because it used to be in second edition, one of the pieces of equipment you could take, it was a hollow sight, and it was an automatic +1 dice to your shoot test.
Nice.
And everyone took them on everything. So it was the ubiquitous the instant takes. And Mantic has always been kind of good about that. You see it in their Kings of War. They really look at what people are taking as automatics, and they go, well, we probably don't need, we could do away with that and integrate whatever that's doing in a different fashion. If everyone's automatically taking it, it means that it was missing from something else, and we should free that decision up to be elsewhere. So Mantic's really good about reflecting on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're not afraid to make changes that admit that something wasn't amazing or great. That way it can become that. So like, and to me, that's just the mark of good game design. You know, like, yeah, we're gonna switch things up. You know, and every war game is like that. War games are never complete. You know, so yeah.
I'm excited for other speculated things. Is that I'm counting it as a Dead Zone win as well. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of new terrain crate stuff in the sci-fi realm that's Halo themed, but it's going to fit perfectly great in your Dead Zone table. So
I've been
really
using my Halo stuff for Dead Zone. I've been doing that already.
And we have seen like I said, the new Banished release box. They have a new mat that's like on a spaceship, like you're on a Covenant ship. So like already we're getting new mats, which we haven't had in a long time, apart from like third edition's release, which again it's been a while now. But like we've always kind of had the gray mat, and then we had the sand mat, and now and then we had kind of two versions of the third edition mat. But now we're really seeing some new ones come into the mix. So I'm excited to see more of that to really bring some extra life to the Dead Zone table.
Oh yeah.
And so, any other wild speculations on Dead Zone announcements?
Nothing on Dead Zone. I think they're Mantic's deciding what they want to do to maybe like specialize it a little more. You know, so I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see.
Yeah, that's fair. So now the Dead Zone tournament, which hasn't started yet.
When is that? Saturday?
Yes, I believe that's Saturday. I can keep track of days in my head as I scan the table. So that's the 28th. So that's actually tomorrow. Friday is the Dead Zone Nationals.
Okay.
Because Halo Flashpoint, I think we got Adepticlash. The duo Halo Flashpoint Duos tournament is Saturday, and so we've got the Halo Halo Nationals and Dead Zone Nationals are happening on Friday.
Okay.
So when this episode airs.
Nice. So
as you're in the thick of the fighting, let this be the radio call that rallies your troops to victory for all of the Rebs players.
Insert faction player.
Insert faction here.
Do you think Rebs will win? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. All the time.
Every time.
The top
Okay.
table is going to be 2 Rebs factions.
Yeah. All right. Well, then my prediction now, just to ride the synergy, is Reb versus Reb. It's the final match. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I think they haven't been represented much in the last couple of years at the event. So we just know everyone is bringing their Rebs list.
It's a 100% Reb show up.
Even though I know people have emailed me their list because that was what was in the packet, and I forwarded it to the TO. So I know that there's like Veerman and Marauder players out there, but everyone brought the Rebs. It was all a ruse.
Yeah, it was just it's like a bait and switch kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm up against a Marauder guy. Joke. Nope. Rebs.
Mm-hmm. I'm really curious is if a Michigan player is going to be bringing home the first place again, because we've had some success with that.
Oh yeah.
Michigan brings the heat.
It's actually very possible. In fact, I've talked to some of these people who have won, and I think some of them are going and some of them aren't. But I know that it at least will be a fierce fight for sure, based on who I think's going. I don't know who, but okay, I do know who. I can't say names, but. You want to know, Brian, who I actually think will win?
Who's that?
I actually think Asterians will win because anyone who brings dual Spectras wins the game. If they know what they're doing.
That's it. It is always a very strong flex to bring multiple Spectras to any kind of dead zone fight, and they are nasty and they are hard to take care of. But
the issue is all your points are in 2 models now.
All your points are in 2 models. So yeah, that's who won Dead Zone.
Dun, dun, dun.
And so with that, like that's I'm sure other crazy things have been announced that the crazy boxes have returned and they're just giving them out to people, and they had. A life-size version of that dinosaur-looking Matsudan character walking around and his tail knocked into the Armada booth and it all fell apart. But our buddy Rick is running the show, and so he's got everything under control and is giving out all sorts of free stuff. So go say hi to Rick on behalf of Deadzone the Podcast, and some other folks that are there. Some of our other friends of the show, the Mantic Universe podcast guys are there. Countercharge is there, and they usually have a table set up to record. It's always a great time to catch up with them. The Halo Flashpoint podcast, Truth and Reconciliation. I've been listening to those guys a whole bunch. They're a great couple of dudes, and they were planning to be at Adepticon. I'm super bummed that I don't get a chance to meet them this year, but I'm really looking forward to meeting those guys in person. They sound like a great set of guys to enjoy the game with, and
there's always next year,
so always next year, and I don't think there's officially a Mantic night. I really haven't heard any news about that. It's something they used to do at Adepticon when it was at the Schaumburg. And the last couple of years they stopped doing it. There's a whole thing about like what the hotel was requiring them to like buy and how often, like how long they'd be able to keep the room open, and sometimes it just didn't make sense to keep doing it. But it was always kind of a neat closed door type thing where if you bought a ticket, you would get those sneak peeks at things that are not public yet.
That's awesome.
I remember like seeing like the Hellboy stuff for the first time and whatnot. So I'm sure there's a bunch of new secret stuff that those that are making it to the show are going to get to sit in on. Also, other friends of the show, FamilyOfGamers777 are going to be there. Rob and Pat from Mobile Armor Radio are going to be walking around. All sorts of really cool people at Adepticon. So definitely hang out with them and say hi on behalf of the Deadzone the Podcast guys.
Absolutely.
And so with that, I think we're going to move on to talk real quick on the hobby table and talk about what we've got working on. So hobby table is obviously brought to you by Corvus Games Terrain. They make 3D printed files that are cubed up and perfect for Deadzone, and they're a great sponsor of the show. And if you use our coupon code DZ Podcast 15 at your checkout, you can get 15% off of your order, and that's kind of a persistent coupon code going forward. It's a great way to get some 3D files for your Deadzone board, as well as Acid House Terrain. They make foldable cardboard terrain. There's a new set in the works coming out from them, and it's really exciting stuff. So go check out their terrain. It's great to really bring some life to your firefight table or even your Deadzone board. So with that, I'm gonna start by saying, as far as the hobby table goes, mine is over there in the back corner with my Dreadball team. That is still not much more painted, I think, since I last reported on it. I've dry brushed or I've primed them gray and dry brushed some white on them to bring out some highlights in a faux slap chop style. And I was just kind of settling in on my paint schemes. And I think I've got a pretty good. I got to do a sample model of one of the prone guys, and nice. I was able to print off a whole bunch of the Dreadball like bases that Jeff Burbage had designed, which can be magnetized and all sorts of other cool goodies in them. Nice. Just need to figure out how I'm gonna get the Yindage models off of their original like acrylic bases that they came with, because they come as in a box set. They are hard glued on already, but I like a different style of Dreadball base. So I'll figure out how that's gonna work at some point here.
Yeah, can you not just clip them? Will you lose the leg if you clip them? That's
kind of my concern. Like I think I'd have to slice the feet really to get the best job, but I'm not confident in that. I can try clipping the base off, but there's still that possibility that there's like a base disc that the feet are on, and then there's the base is glued to that. So there's that possibility that could be kind of a hairy process. But I'll figure it out and I'll report back and see how it goes. But as of yet, I still haven't really had a chance to dive in and paint them anymore. But I hope to one day.
You'll get there, man. You'll get there.
Yeah. Now, what have you had on your hobby table?
Well, with I've been working on the Warrior Poet stuff a lot, and so there's been a lot of like balancing of a lot of different models and things. So I've been gathering a plethora of stuff, but what I've been painting is actually some 10 mil War Master High Elf army that I've had for a while, and I've been wanting to play. So I had some little MDF little bases come in. I'm just putting them all together. Just gonna do something real simple, just to throw it in the case and call it good.
There you go. That's always a fun time. I was gonna say I've also managed to get my printer working again, so I'm trying to finish building out another Deadzone table's worth of terrain.
Nice.
You guys see my terrain at Adepticon.
Yeah.
One of these.
I gotta hire you for some of that for sure.
But yeah, and then to kind of close out the show, we kind of mentioned it earlier. We actually got together and played a game of Firefight, which was a blast. It was Enforcers versus Asterians, and we did one of the narrative. Yeah, 1250, and or did we just do 1200? I forget if we had the extra 50 in there.
I don't know.
But we did one of the narrative missions, which was the one where the like objectives are kind of on the table, and as you roll to capture them, they move in a direction, which was an interesting mechanic to play around.
I thought it was a ton of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and the Enforcers just squeaked out a victory with the last dice roll of the last turn.
It worked out. Every time I went to collect the data, just whiff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, because you had to roll to collect it. It was on a 5-up, and both of us missed a bunch. I think it was only 2 to 3 by the end.
Right.
So, but a really fun match, and just again, it's neat to dive into the narrative missions more of Firefight. The normal tournament based ones are fine and enjoyable, but the ones that like really can bring some extra enjoyment is digging into those narrative missions. They can be a little bit more asymmetrical, but I think they're still a fun time. So yeah. And so with that, we're gonna call it a wrap. And we hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you're having a great time at Adepticon. Please, like and share with your friends while you're there. Let them know that the show exists and is out there to support them. And yeah, hope you got all sorts of free goodies.
And may your dice roll well.
Yes.
Roll 8s and 6s, gentlemen.
All right. Well, have a good one.
Goodbye.
Can you believe that they just announced the Master Chief is coming to Deadzone?
Yeah. That actually would be kind of fun if we did a crossover.
Well, the neat thing is, I'm sure Microsoft would put the kibosh on it, but Mantic has done that in the past, where in Deadzone we had the Mars Attacks Martians.
That's
because
actually
Mantic used to have the license to Mars Attacks.
Yeah, I remember that set. In fact, you know what's funny is that's kind of how I heard about Mantic. Like I was always into Kings of War, but then I saw that Mars Attack, and I was like, "This is awesome! What is this company?" you know? Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, I mean that was a good idea, I thought.